The ships came on a Tuesday. That was the first thing Colonel Marcus Webb noted in his log. Not the date, not the coordinates, just the day. Tuesday. Because somehow, the most terrifying moment in human history felt absurdly ordinary against the backdrop of a pale morning sky over Nevada. 400 vessels broke through the atmosphere like hot iron through paper. Each one was the size of a small city, dark and angular, carrying the geometric perfection of a civilization that had been building warships while humanity was still figuring out fire. They hovered in silence for exactly 11 minutes, long enough for every news channel on Earth to broadcast the footage, long enough for every government to scramble their militaries, and long enough for Colonel Webb to finish his coffee. The alien broadcast came in every human language simultaneously. The translation was cold, efficient, and brutally simple. Inhabitants of designation, Earth. Your resources have been catalogued. Your resistance capability has been assessed. Surrender your world within 6 hours or face total elimination. You are the 43rd civilization we have offered this choice. None have survived refusal. General Diana Hollis, commander of NORAD, set down her phone and looked around the war room. 20 of the brightest military minds on the planet stared back at her. She let the silence sit for exactly 3 seconds. Well, she said, cracking her knuckles, they've never met us before. The aliens, designated Vorath by their own broadcast signal, had made one critical miscalculation. They had scanned Earth's military capability using conventional metrics. Satellite counts. Naval tonnage. Nuclear warhead numbers. Troop deployments. By any galactic standard of measurement, humanity ranked embarrassingly low. A primitive, fractured species still burning fossil fuels and arguing about borders. What their scanners could not measure was something far more dangerous. Human desperation. Within 2 hours of the broadcast, Dr. James Kowalski at MIT had already reverse-engineered the alien communication frequency. Within 3 hours, Lieutenant Commander Rachel Torres at Edwards Air Force Base had coordinated a global network of ground-based laser arrays originally designed for satellite maintenance. Within 4 hours, 17-year-old Tyler Brooks from Tulsa, Oklahoma, a high school kid with a YouTube channel about electromagnetics, had posted a 30-minute video detailing a theoretical disruption pattern for the alien ship's hull resonance frequency. The Pentagon called Tyler within 6 minutes of the upload. General Hollis watched the clock. 5 hours and 58 minutes after the Vorath ultimatum, she authorized the response. It was not a surrender signal. The Vorath commander, Vessel Lord Dravik, received the human transmission with mild curiosity. In 42 previous planetary conquests, responses at this stage were always the same: desperate pleas, tearful surrenders, or the occasional futile weapons launched that his shields absorbed like rain. The human transmission contained no words. It contained a frequency, a precise, mathematically elegant signal that lasted 0.3 seconds. Dravik had exactly enough time to recognize it as a targeted resonance burst before every single one of his 400 ships simultaneously cracked along their primary hull seams like eggs dropped on concrete. The chain reaction was catastrophic and instantaneous. The Vorath vessels, built for overwhelming force against primitive resistance, had never needed internal structural redundancy. Their hulls shattered outward. Their power cores vented. 400 city-sized warships came apart in the upper atmosphere in a cascade of light and debris that witnesses on the ground initially mistook for a meteor shower. Tyler Brooks watched it from his backyard in Tulsa, phone in hand, jaw open. "Dude," he whispered to nobody. Colonel Marcus Webb updated his log 3 days later. The debris field is still burning up in the atmosphere. Scientists are calling it the most significant electromagnetic event since the Tunguska impact. World governments are meeting in Geneva. Nobody is arguing about borders anymore, at least not today. We recovered one Vorath escape pod. The surviving officer inside, the equivalent of a junior navigator, was unharmed. When our xenolinguistics team finally established communication, the first coherent question he asked was, "What are you?" Dr. Kowalski told him, "Complicated." The navigator sat quietly for a long moment. Then he said something our translators flagged as a Vorith cultural proverb. Roughly translated, it means, the small fire that survives the flood burns the longest. We looked it up. Apparently, 42 other civilizations never got the chance to prove that proverb right. We did. Web out.